The following broadcast is a Nighthawk Network presentation. Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy E-Buck. Guess what? It's time, but not time that you think it is. You know, usually this time of the week, you're sitting here and you wait for me and your man, great sports guru himself, Hugh Lee, to come on and give you that show called Gametime Audible. Well, guess what? Hugh, not available this week. Don't worry, he'll be back next week. And we'll be back this week at this time to do Gametime Audible. But this week, we're going to do something different. We got my new podcast. One with me, your boy E Beezy doing, and I call it the Big Buck Sports Report. That is the name of this new podcast. Now, once we get everything properly situated for the podcast, you will see this one on Sundays. Hopefully, you'll be able to catch it not only here on Facebook and YouTube, but on IG as well. We are trying our best to set all that up. And hopefully we'll get that done Sunday, if not the following Sunday. But in the meanwhile, you get to see what this is about. Now, you're saying, okay, you're already doing a sports podcast. What's different about this one? Well, two important differences. One, it's just me. But sometimes you may get other guests and hosts to come on through and talk sports with us. It may not always be just me. You may get other correspondents checking in from across the country. But also, you will get some more in-depth things. You know, usually when me and you talk, we talk about the major sports. But, you know, sometimes I'm going to go off the beaten path a little bit. I'm going to discuss some sports at times that's not quite what we usually do on the other show. I'm going to go in-depth into some of them, but I'm going to do it in a way to where we all have fun, we all gain some understanding, and we all keep it moving. So keep in mind, this is an hour show, so we only got so much time, so we got to keep it cracking. So as the music plays and I talk my ish, check on in, see what you got to say. As always, this one is live, so feel free to make your comments, and we definitely will address them as we talk about what we talk about. So that being said, let's get it started, shall we? Time's a waste. First thing we're going to talk about this evening, we're going to talk, of course, about what's going on presently at the moment. That would be the NBA playoffs. So a little NBA talk. Here we go. Let's get into it. Right now, currently, we got the game going on between Miami and that team known as the Philadelphia 76ers. Right now, not looking good for Philly. They are down by double digits to the Heat. It's looking like Heat going to go up 2-0. We already know what half the problem is in terms of the Philadelphia 76ers here in round two. Their best player, the potential MVP of the league, Joel Embiid, is out yet again due to a fracture in his face and his orbital situation. So because of that and the fact he's also on concussion protocol, he is unable to play this evening. He is not available. So, of course, that leaves the other big man supposedly on that squad. That would be James Harden to take up the load. And right now, that doesn't appear to be happening at all. In fact, let me give you a quick update as I check it out here, live and direct from the show right now. Heat is up 89-78 late in the third. We're going to check the box score right quickly for you. And, of course, James Harden is playing, and he currently has 18 points. Not bad, but, of course, not what is needed. In order for them to beat this very tough Miami team, very talented Miami team, a lot of good defensive players, a lot of decent scorers on this squad, James Harden got to step his game up. We need the James Harden of a couple of years ago when he led the league in scoring with over 34 points a game. And right now, basically since he's stepped into Philly, we have not seen that guy. That guy does not exist. It does appear that James Harden's skill set is going down. He is just slightly over 30. But keep in mind, he's been in the league almost 10 plus years now. And it appears that his skill set is deteriorating, particularly when it comes to driving to the basket and basically scoring at will. That James Harden has yet to show up and may not be coming. So I'm pretty sure in Philly they're saying Joel, please get better soon, because we in trouble without you. We in trouble without you. Now, of course, the other Eastern Conference semifinal that went on last night, you had the Boston Celtics taking on the Milwaukee Bucks, the NBA champs. And basically, Boston had a message. It ain't going to be that easy, bruh. We came to play. We had the best record in the Eastern second half of the season, and this is why. So you got to bring your AA game. And right now, as far as that goes, that is not going on in Milwaukee. At least it didn't in game 2. Giannis is struggling, not struggling as bad as KD and Kyrie did in the first round. He is getting his, but he's not getting his the way that they need him to in order to beat this very young and hungry Boston Celtics team. Remember, last night they didn't even play with Marcus Smart, the NBA Defensive Player of the Year, and they still beat them by double digits rather easy. So I'm definitely thinking game 3, which is in Milwaukee on Saturday, it's going to be a whole different story. You're going to have that raucous Milwaukee crowd. Greek Freak had several days to rest. They will adjust the game plan. I do believe they're going to have their hands full in Milwaukee on Saturday. Greek Freak going to get his. I see him scoring at least 30, possibly 40 or plus, and that's what it's going to take in order for them to beat Boston. Because right now, Boston is basically firing on all cylinders. I definitely say, even though Miami is a good team, pretty much the winner of this Boston and Milwaukee series will definitely be the team that goes to the NBA Finals. Now, what they do in the finals, that's another story. And, of course, they're looking at one of these 4 possibilities in the West. Right now, Western Conference Finals, you got the Phoenix Suns and the Denver Mavericks, I do believe, the Dallas Mavericks. I believe that is the second game that's going to be played this evening. Right now, Phoenix looking good. Booker looks like he's over the groin or hamstring injury. He played well. I imagine that's going to continue. Right now, of course, as you know, all the eggs are in the basket of the young Dallas point guard, the do-it-all Luka Doncic. Dallas will go as he goes. He's going to have to do double digits, triple doubles, 40, 50-point games. Otherwise, I do not see Dallas getting past the second round. It's definitely going to be Phoenix. Now, on the other end, we definitely got to talk about what's looking like the best series so far in the second round. That would be the series between the Golden State Warriors and the Memphis Grizzlies. And right now, the main person that's making this series pop, let's talk about this kid for a minute, shall we? That would be this fine young man here. Oh, nope, didn't download that one. Hold on, people. Let me see if I can track that down here. Give me a second. All right. Nope, that's not going to work out. But y'all know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about that kid, Ja Morant. Ja Morant is the guy that we're talking about. He is definitely putting his stamp on this series and his stamp on these playoffs. The young man who basically came out of Murray State was not highly recruited to go to college. Now, all of a sudden, he has come along and he is showing people not only is he a star in this league, he's ready to be a superstar in this league. Should he be the most improved player of the year? No, I do not agree. I do believe that's still Jordan Poole for the Warriors. With that being said, there are some improvements that he has made, and he is definitely showing I am ready to be a star. I want people to consider me in terms of who's one of the best point guards in the league right now. He showed up and showed out last night when they needed him most. Fourth quarter, they were back and forth. At that point, Ja Morant was like, give me the ball, get out the way, let me do this. He definitely reminds you of a few players from NBA players past. You definitely get a Allen Iverson feel to him at times, where he constantly drives to the basket, regardless of his size, ready to get it in. Of course, with the high flying, you think of some of the high flyers that have been in the NBA in terms of that above the rim type play. You also consider his skill set when it comes to shooting the basketball. That is improving. And, of course, he is going against one of the better point guards in the league, one Steph Curry, and it's a good battle between the two. I find it interesting, though, basically ever since Steph broke the record for three-point shooting, his shooting has not been as consistent as I would like to see from him. Is he definitely doing a good job in the playoffs? Sure. Are we concerned that he still may be a little injured from his injury late in the season? That's a possibility. I definitely see that Unfortunately, his counterpart in crime, the other Splash brothers, Klay Thompson, not doing quite as well. Basically, he's having some moments where he is stepping up and being Klay, but defensively, you're not getting the type of play from Klay Thompson that we have been used to in the past. And there does seem to be certain moments where he is slowing down, and the leg issues that cost him the last 2-3 seasons are coming into play. Of course, one of the things I did not like last night in watching Game 2 with Memphis and Golden State is the incident involving Mr. Jones and, of course, little Gary Payton Jr., Gary Payton III, actually, where basically he has done damage to his elbow due to that very flagrant foul that took place. A lot of talking heads talked about it today. They basically said that, yeah, Brooks, he is not a dirty player, but that most definitely was a dirty play. I completely and totally agree with that. Yeah, that was not a good do. I understand this is the playoffs, so you got to put forth that effort. You want to come up with stuff. You want to show them you ain't no punk and all that. But the way he fouled that young man, that was very uncalled for. And I don't know if he's going to be fined in addition to that. I hope so. But there's that. Now, speaking of fines, we, of course, have to talk about the discussion that was had in regards to another very hard foul yesterday involving one Draymond Green and one of the Memphis players. Now, of course, after the game in which the Warriors lost, they wanted to discuss that with Draymond, and Draymond had some things to say in regards to that. Let's check this out. I actually have the tape here, a part of the press conference. Check it out, and then we'll discuss.
Take a listen to what Day Day has to say.
Ooh, Day Day.
What were your thoughts?
It was
What do you guys need to do better on Ja than maybe you did in the fourth?
guard him better. It's all right.
Can you describe that play where you got hurt? It looked like just an inadvertent elbow from Tillman, and how did it affect you the rest of the game?
Yeah, it was an elbow. I don't know if it was inadvertent or not, but I really don't care. It's an elbow.
They were definitely more physical. How do you think you guys responded to that?
Well, we had a chance to win the game, so I guess we did a decent job, but not good enough.
Draymond, you guys obviously expected the Grizzlies to be more physical this series. So after this game, you guys expecting that same level going back to San Francisco?
Yeah, still the same series, no matter where we're at.
I mean, just based off your demeanor right now, you're not as talkative or quiet. I mean, just what's the general mood after not only a loss, but one where you get hit in the eye, Gary fractures his elbow?
I think it's the same mood after any loss. You know, you're upset, so it is what it is.
After you got hit in the eye when you walked off the court, you flipped off the fans, it looked like. What was going through your mind?
You're gonna boot somebody who get elbowed in the eye and face running on blood, you should get flipped off. So I'll take the fine, I'll go do an appearance and make up the money. But it felt really good to flip them off. You're gonna boo someone that get elbowed in the eye and blood running down your face? I could have had a concussion or anything. So if they're gonna be that nasty, I can be nasty too. And I'm assuming the cheers was because they know I'll get fined. Great, I make $25 million a year, I should be just fine.
There you have it, the thoughts of Draymond Green. As we all know, Draymond is usually very candid in regards to what he feels about anything, particularly involving the game of the basketball. That being said, some good and bad with all that. As you saw the actual foul on Draymond Green, I did not think that was an intentional foul. I don't think it was flagrant. I just think it was basically the elbow caught him right place, wrong time. And that was that. Of course, it did not look good when that happened several minutes after what happened between Gary Payton III and Mr. Brooks. With that being said, we all know Draymond's history in the game. We know that he has had several flagrant fouls over the years, has basically been thrown out of several games and what have you. So his reputation precedes itself. With that being said, I kind of agree with him in regards to the thoughts about the fans and them booing him, because at that point he's right. They did not know if he was concussed or hurt a lot worse than he actually may have been. But again, part of why he got that vitriol is because he is Draymond Green, and we know this. He is not an NBA good guy. He does not look to be an NBA good guy. He is not trying to be a role model. We get all that. But the good comes with the bad, Draymond. Understand that. Now, the problem I had, and several other people, talking heads and whatnot throughout the network also agree with this, is that the way you went about discussing that, where it's like, okay, I'm not worried about getting fined. I can just go do an appearance and make up the money. That was one thing that you discussed that didn't come off well, but then you doubled up on it by talking about how much money you make per year, and that basically the fine would be a drop in the bucket. Now, in a spiteful, hateful world where I was in charge of the fines, I might be thinking, oh yeah, well, let me hit you with something you weren't quite expecting, and let's see how you deal with that. Now, of course, that's not fair to do that, because ideally, for whatever was said and done, there should be a set pretty much price for that. We know that earlier in the season, we had the Kyrie Irving incident involving the bird. It's been done in the past by people such as Russell Westbrook and others. So there is a precedent for that. It's the playoffs as well. Keep in mind, they do get paid additional money for the playoffs. So all that being said, we'll see what fine is going to be levied. Keep in mind, one of the people that's in charge of such things these days is the newly appointed head of that basketball operation part of the NBA, Mr. Joe Dumars. Congratulations for him for that nice upkeep and for getting that position. With that being said, Draymond, it's a bad look when you tell people that come to see you, many of them basically paying their hard-earned money and cost them a nice little bit to come see you in a playoff game, that it's $25 million in my account every year. I ain't pressed. That's a bad look, bro. You probably shouldn't have done it. I've met Draymond Green in real life. I know where he comes from in Saginaw. Yeah, he is that guy. He's a good guy, but then he's a not so good guy at the same time. And those comments do not help or add to any of that one way or another. Keep in mind, Draymond, I do believe somewhere down the line, if not this playoff series, sometime later on down the line in your career, those particular comments will come back to haunt you. Particularly if you go on and do what we figure you're going to do once your playing career is over and take one of those seats at the TNT desk with Charles and young Shaq and the like. That's going to come up at some point, and you're going to have a good answer for that, okay? Do keep that in mind. I know at that moment, you're upset, you're lost, you're probably in pain from the stitches and all that, but sometimes I need you to take a deep breath and then think about what you're going to say before you say it. That was not a good do, sir. That was not a good do. With that being said, still looking forward to seeing how that series plays out. I think that might possibly go the whole 7, because Memphis Grizzlies, they are a very hungry team. They are a team that are not just satisfied with partaking, they come to take over. So if you think they're about to just lay down and succumb to you because you are a team that have won several championships, that's not going to happen. You're going to have to put in the work, because they are all in the same gang on that team, and they are looking to get it in. So the next game in Golden State going to be very interesting for that reason and several others. Definitely looking forward to seeing more of that series there. Again, for those of you looking and seeing that there's only me here, that's because we are doing a new show this evening. It's called the Big Buck Sports Report. I am, of course, E-Buck, the Big Buck himself. Of course, Gametime Audible will be back next week. Don't worry. Next Wednesday, we will be back here at this time, but you will catch this show after today at its regular scheduled time, 10 p.m. on Sunday evening. 10 p.m. Sunday evenings, we will do the Big Buck Sports Report, where we'll talk about major sports and some of the things that's major in sports as well. So I look forward to doing that in this platform. In the meanwhile, that wraps up our discussion about the NBA playoffs for this evening. When we come back, we're going to talk some baseball. We're going to get into baseball, how the season's looking early on, some of the in-between stories that are coming out of MLB. And we'll do that right after these fine messages from my people in the Nighthawk Network. Check it out.
Hello, hello, hello. It's another glorious day, my tea-sippers, and you know what time it is. I hope you have all of your comfort together because it's time to dish tea. And you're dishing tea, darlings, with Big Meat.
Can't wait. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat.
Darling.
What's up, everybody? Eric Buckner here. You know me as EB, Young Easy, Eric Buck, all that good stuff. Anyway, I'm here to kick it with y'all about this little podcast I've been doing. I talk trending topics. I talk about the stuff we as people need to talk about. I talk about some things actually that people kind of want to shy away from, because we got to have these discussions, folks. That's how we get better. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, hold on. Yeah, so anyway, I do it Tuesdays, 8:30 p.m. You can check it out on Facebook, on YouTube. It's a good show. I say get into it. Yeah, you want to know the name of the show? You said, hold on. Hey, you! Get off my lawn! Nighthawk Network presents Pastor Sean Love. Pastor Sean Love, devoted father and husband, a residing pastor at the River Ridge Bible Assembly in River Ridge, Michigan. Join him as he gives us messages from God's Word, Bible study, and encouragement. You can find him on YouTube under Sean Love. What's going on, y'all? We are back. We are here to talk some different sport now, that being MLB, a little baseball for you. So as I'm setting up some things right here, we are going to get into it, y'all. Early on baseball season, not bad. We've had no-hitter so far this year, combined no-hitter. We had a couple perfect game attempts that didn't quite get off the ground the way they needed to. Not a lot of big scoring games this year so far. Overall hitting is down, surprisingly enough. I think a lot of it has to do with some of the weather in the northern states. Even though we started later on in the season, still had a lot of bad weather days. Lord knows we did here in Detroit. So I definitely think that has affected a lot of what has went on early on in the season. We got some teams that's real hot right now and some not so much. So let's take a look at that as I show you the following. These are the Eastern standings as they apply at the moment, based on when we started the podcast this evening. As you can see, the Yankees are basically atop of the East right now. They have gotten real hot. They have won 11 games in a row, and basically they weren't hitting early on, but now they have hit their stride. Garrett Cole, the ace of that staff, is looking very good over there, and it looks like they're putting it together. Keep in mind, the Yankees have done this in the past, where they got off to a slow start, but then those bats started warming up. They get to Yankee Stadium, which is basically home run central in the American League, and they start hitting, and next thing you know, they off to the races. You see Tampa Bay and Toronto 3.5 games behind. Not bad. Toronto looking very good this year. Looking forward to seeing more of them play. Boston not quite there yet, and Baltimore, it's going to be a long season in Baltimore. I think we knew that already. No surprise there. There in the Central, you got Minnesota actually atop of the Central. That is very surprising, in fact. Even though they did acquire Carlos Correa, who's definitely having a very, very good season thus far. He's definitely making some strides over there in Minnesota on that short contract that will probably equal a much bigger deal if he keeps hitting the way he's hitting. Minnesota is definitely showing and proving that, those moves they made later on as we got back to the season is definitely paying off. Chicago, who everybody has pretty much picked to win the Central, is actually in third place, 4.5 games behind. And of course, the Tigers and KC not looking that great at this point. Definitely, we're having some issues in terms of our hitting. We've definitely had some injury issues in the starting rotation that has caused us some issues. And of course, our field is not quite what we need it to be. In the West, you got the Dodgers, the Angels. Sorry about that. They are first right now. Houston not far behind them, and Seattle not far from them. I think one of those three teams will definitely be the winners out the West. I still think they're kind of figuring everything out over there. Several changes on those particular squads, particularly when you look at Seattle. But the West should be interesting going into it. Now, of course, that is the American League. Let's talk about the National League for a minute, shall we? Where some of the better pitchers reside. You got Max Scherzer doing very well over there for the Mets, who are, of course, atop the East right now. Sadly, their ace, I would assume him to be the ace, even though Max Scherzer is definitely a future Hall of Famer in his own right. Mr. DeGrom is still dealing with injury issues, but of course, when he comes back, that should probably make the Mets that much better, and they're actually hitting very well. Miami surprising at 12-12, and Philly, again, I think Philly's going to do much like they did last year, kind of start out slow, but definitely get it jumping in the second half of the season. Atlanta, surprisingly, is fourth. Remember, they are the World Series champions, and I definitely expected better from them early on in the season. And I think the Senators, Washington, they're going to have a long season for themselves. Not quite as long as what you're looking at there in the Central, where you got Cincinnati and the Cubs. They both are not doing well, and I think that the trend is going to continue. Cincinnati, of course, with the worst record in baseball, they're looking extremely bad. Outside of that, the other half of the Central, I'm sure they'll go back and forth as the season goes on. I definitely think Pittsburgh will probably join Chicago and Cincinnati more than come up there with St. Louis and Milwaukee, even though I do believe they won today against the Tigers. I have not checked game 2 of the doubleheader yet, but they were winning last I checked. And, of course, the Dodgers and San Francisco look good again this year. San Diego is doing their thing. Colorado and Arizona, not bad, all things considered, but probably will not be up in the upper echelons of the West or making any playoff runs anytime soon, those two squads. So, yeah, early on, you got Yankees hitting well, Dodgers hitting well. Of course, baseball's got to love that because they like when the big market teams do well. That's good for baseball. That's good for MLB in general as far as they are concerned. We will see as the weeks go on how we progress, especially now that we're starting to get into the warmer months. And because we had to shorten spring training, the pitchers were not basically being allowed to pitch to their full potential, particularly the starters. I think now that we get into May, we'll start to see them go more towards 6 or 7 innings as opposed to the 4 or 5 innings that many of them have been pitching. And I think that will definitely make a difference in regards to where we go from there. And of course, the heat will automatically heat up when the temperature will heat up. And according to the weather forecast, in the next couple of weeks, throughout most of the country that plays baseball, it will be warmer temperatures, and that should definitely help the cause. So that being said, that's wrapping up MLB. As you see, this show goes rather quickly. It's a little different pace than we got over there at Gametime Audible. So hopefully you guys are keeping up with everything. Nobody commenting right now, but after all, it's a new show. And you might just be checking it out. Keep in mind, if you check it out later on and you go and check it out in the rebroadcast, feel free to comment even then. No problem. Because we are here for you. We're here to talk to you about what's going on in sports. That's why we have shown up. Now, before we move on, I definitely have to address this once again, as I will continue to until it is properly dealt with. That being said, people, free Britney Griner. Free Britney Griner. Unfortunately, we are still talking about this. She has been detained in Russia since February for basically being in possession of an illegal substance in her vape cartridges. Not the actual substance, but the oil from said substance. Basically, it's a railroad job. Finally, our government is acknowledging that she is being improperly detained, and they are now trying to work toward her actual release. The WNBA are also doing what they can from a international standpoint to try to get her released as well. I am definitely thankful that they are looking to honor Britney Griner in the WNBA, which starts this weekend, by having special ceremonies for her throughout the league, and also putting her number and likeness on their uniforms and the floors of the WNBA teams. So hopefully she'll be able to enjoy that, because at some point during the season she will be released and be able to go back to Phoenix Mercury and play. Don't know what condition she's in at this point. Hopefully she's being dealt with properly, and that hopefully we can get her released soon. So this time next week or the week after, we can probably report that she is here back home where she belongs. She has a family, she has children. I'm sure they miss her. She has teammates who miss her. Basically, Russia is doing them no great service. They are already the villains of the world. This does not help that process, and it definitely will not help the Russian leagues in regards to being able to retain American athletes in the future. I'm sure they're all looking at this and saying, hey, this is how you do us. I'm not coming back over here to play. I know I wouldn't. I most definitely would not. But yeah, as I said, the WNBA is starting this weekend. Looking forward to catching that, because as you know, I am a big proponent of women's sports and women's basketball in particular, having been a person who covered women's sports in college, basketball in particular as well. Right now, I would say it's going to be a battle between the Las Vegas Aces, the Los Angeles Sparks, and the Seattle Storm as to who will win the WNBA. If I was to make any choices at this point, it would be one of those three teams. Remember, the way their system is set up, there's not so much an East or West Conference. It kind of is, but when the playoffs start, they reseed everything, and they reseed everything each additional round. So it's not quite set up like the NBA, where you deal with East and West and so on and so forth. I kind of like that about the WNBA, in fact. But a lot of new people in the league. Again, their draft, much like the NFL draft, not overly impressive. Not a lot of people that are household names where you're going to say, oh, yeah, I can't wait to see that person play. So I'm interested to see what type of player development we get this season in terms of some of those folks. A lot of player movement went on in the WNBA during the offseason, so a lot of new people in new places. Of course, we know the champions from last year, Chicago Sky, still has Candace Parker and the like, but I don't think that, when all is said and done, I don't think they're going to repeat this year. I definitely think one of those three teams that I mentioned, either the Storm, the Aces, or the Sparks, will be the WNBA champion, but we shall see. Keep in mind, like I said, they are being aired in more places this year, which I'm happy about. You'll be able to catch some of those games on Fox Sports 1, some of them on ESPN 2 and ESPN, as well as ABC. And I think there's a couple other stations that's going to air WNBA games as well. I want to say NBC Sports Network might be one. I'm not sure about that one. But yeah, if you are looking to check out some of those games, there's that. And then, of course, much like there is an app for the NBA, there's also an app for the WNBA. So if you want to download that to your phone so you can keep up with the progress of your favorite teams or your favorite WNBA players, you can do that also. So yeah, there's that. Next on the agenda, a couple quick hits. First of all, USFL. I tried it one more time, y'all. I gave it one more chance. This weekend, and it failed me yet again. I cannot, for the life of me, get into this USFL. I mean, bottom line, the overall play of that league, not good. It's just simply not good. There are some plays that are typical football plays, and it's like, okay. But then there are several plays that they have, and it's like, you guys practice. It's been 3 weeks. Y'all been a team for like 5-6 weeks now. Y'all don't have no idea how the plays work. Some of y'all is just like here. Y'all just here playing football, collecting a check. If you're trying to upgrade yourself, possibly get back in the NFL one day, you're not putting a lot of good tape out here. Some of the teams that I view, particularly the Michigan Panthers, the ones who had the number one draft pick, a guy who I have not seen play. because his backup is pretty much playing. So that didn't work out well, did it? Yeah, some of the bottom feeders in the USFL, they really bottom feeders. I think they'd have trouble with certain high school teams, let alone teams in the NFL. They just look very bad. If you're looking to increase this league and expand it to actual markets that may actually appreciate it more, if you're looking to make it to where next year when you have all the teams playing their actual home places as opposed to just there in Birmingham, you are not setting a good example to make that happen. Do I think the USFL will die after this year? No, I don't think so. I think they are determined to at least make it work for at least a couple years. It's going to kind of get a semi-COVID understanding, and they'll probably kind of charge some of that to the game and then give it one more go next year with everybody playing in their own home stadiums. But when all is said and done, based on what I've seen thus far, USFL is probably not going to make it. There are a couple things that they have integrated into the game that I do like. I do like that they have a couple of the players mic'd and camered up for sound. I do like that aspect. I would definitely like to see that integrated into the NFL in some way, shape, or form. Basically, I would even like it to go as far as that you can vote on which players you would like to be mic'd up and cammed up, so you can get an understanding of what they see during the game and what's going on their end and what have you. Now, granted, there have to be some editing and all that involved because basically when you do mic for sound under normal circumstances in the NFL, you hear a lot of bleep, bleep, and bleep, bleep, bleep. I imagine you'll hear even more so if you're that close to the field. So there's that. And then, of course, like I said, just some of the cool camera angles and whatnot that they have set up. I like that as well. The fact that the way they have the field set up, you can automatically determine if that person got the first down or not, what happened. I'll go through all the follow and the reviews and all that. I like that. I like the fact that some of the referees are mic'd and camered up as well, so you kind of get their view of what they saw. I like that part of it. But I like the fact that they interview the people on the sidelines during the games. I like that as well. Beyond the realm of that, the quality of the football itself, not so much. Not so much for me. I don't think I'll be watching any more of it this year. Maybe I'll tune in when they get to the playoffs and see if it's any better at that point. But for the time being, no. Nope. I'm good. So there's that. All right. We're keeping it moving. We didn't talk basketball. We didn't talk baseball. We didn't talk the USFL. We've talked WNBA. Let's get into the NFL for a quick second. You know, they had the draft last week. I already gave my opinion last week on the draft itself. Very much a developmental draft. Not a lot of people in this particular draft that I'm looking forward to seeing and saying, yeah, that person's the next Hall of Famer in the NFL. I don't see a lot of that going on in this draft. But if you look at the last couple years, particularly the top 10, you have some good and bad. Keep in mind, number one draft pick for 2 years ago, that would be young Joe Burrow. He ended up going to the Super Bowl. Not bad. Number one draft pick for last year, Trevor Lawrence. His team did was end up having the number one draft pick the following year. So that, not so much. It's pretty much hit or miss, you know? And though a lot of teams are making some good adjustments, Jacksonville definitely being one of them in terms of what they spent on free agents and the moves they made in the draft, I think this draft is kind of a long wait and see in terms of what we got and how good some of these kids will actually be. But in other news, there was an announcement of a suspension from Deandre Hopkins for taking PD, performance-enhancing drugs. Of course, he offers, I don't know how that happens, as most of them usually do. Very rarely do you get anybody that's going to admit that's what they did. I'm wondering if the drugs were taken by Deandre to kind of help him heal himself from the injury that he's had. He has been a little injury prone the last couple of years, and I'm wondering if that had anything to do with that. But that basically makes a bad situation going on over there in Arizona worse. It's been said that Kyler Murray is still very unhappy about the fact that he's not been signed to a long-term deal. I personally feel it's BS. They drafted that kid specifically to that team to run that offense. So if the coach is going to be retained, then they absolutely need to sign him to a long-term deal because that offense is designed around his personal skill set. If in the end you're ready to abandon both coach and scheme and what have you, then it makes total sense why he has not been extended. All that being said, good luck. Good luck, Kyler, getting your money. I think you may have to wait till the end of the season. Another story, of course, involves Baker Mayfield. The fact that there was no trade for him during the draft leads many to believe that eventually he's going to be released by Cleveland as opposed to paying him the significant amount of money that they would owe him for being there. Keep in mind, they do have somebody they're paying a ridiculous amount of money to, and Mr. Deshaun Watson. So it would make no sense to me for you to retain both he and Baker Mayfield just to be a very expensive backup. Bottom line is you're going to probably charge that money to the game. I'm pretty sure as soon as they release him, there's about 3 or 4 teams that at least want to see what he's talking about, especially if they only have to pay him the minimal and that Cleveland will be paying most of his salary. I think it'd definitely be worth a look-see for certain teams. But in terms of picking him up now and letting him know, yeah, you will at least have the possibility of starting, I don't see that happen. I don't see that happen. Then, of course, there's the whole situation with Deebo Samuel. That's not been resolved yet. I'm sure we'll be hearing more about that. And, of course, the other big story in NFL hot stove league is Grunt. What you doing? Are you signing back or what? Personally, I think he'll do it, but in his own time. Understand Gronk is getting older. His body's beat up. He's been injured a lot these last several years, and he's pretty much shown over the years that he is not that keen on doing the OTAs and all the other little workouts leading up to the season. So I think he may wait till June or July to finally announce that, yeah, I'll be back for one more. I'm almost certain that Brady, in fact, probably have talked to him about it, and they already had that deal set up ahead of time. That, yeah, this is how you're going to do it, and so on and so forth, and I'm cool with it. We actually have a comment. All right, who we got checking in? You talking Cleveland sports? I did briefly. I talked about what was going on with the Cleveland Browns and the whole Baker Mayfield situation. I definitely see them releasing him, and where will he go? Who knows? Actually, you want to talk more Cleveland sports? The Guardians are actually playing relatively well. I'm surprised. I did not expect Cleveland to be in the mix like that early on here in the season. They got some decent pitching going. I think in the end, it all kind of catches up with them, and they'll find themselves round about the middle of the pack in terms of record in the league. I don't see them being a playoff contender this year. But yeah, basically, I'm set up to talk about most of any sport you guys want to talk about here on the Big Buck Sports Report. That's what we will do. So anything else you want to bring up, Mr. Mason, if you are still available, by all means do so. In the meanwhile, like I said, that's pretty much what we got for NFL Hot Stove League right now. We will keep you posted as to what's going on. Let's do a quick update as to where we are in terms of the playoffs, NBA. We are in the fourth quarter now. Miami's still up by double digits. Basically, we down to 33 seconds left. So, yeah, this pretty much is a wrap, much as I predicted earlier in the show. Philly, you got a problem. And that problem is without Embiid, you have no chance of beating Miami. If he is not back for game 3, the broom might be in order, y'all. The broom might be in order because keep in mind, game 3 and 4 will be in Philly. So that's advantage Philly. But if we don't get James Harden to put on his Superman cape and the S on his chest and get it in, it's going to be a problem. Because, again, he's played 41 minutes tonight, and he only has 20 points. Actually, Mr. Maxey, the point guard for the Philadelphia 76ers, is leading them in scoring with 34. And Tobias Harris has 21. He will definitely need to step his game up as well. What's the Cavaliers score? Cavaliers are, of course, not playing. As you well know, Mr. Mason, they are out of the playoffs, basically on vacation in Cancun, looking forward to the draft to come up and see where their position is. I do believe that comes up in a couple of weeks, the NBA lottery, to find out who will be where in the NBA lottery. Keep in mind, the Cavs did actually make the playoff, the play-in round, so their lottery standing not so good. With that being said, my darn Pistons, they are definitely in the lottery, and they probably will be looking at another top 5 pick. And hopefully they pick somebody good. I would prefer a big man. We could use a big man, unless there is a guard that is definitely, that kid out of Purdue might be a good pick for us in terms of guard play. But that being said, I'm not thinking that that's going to go well. I did like Cade Cunningham. I really did think he should have won Rookie of the Year. But beyond the realm of that, what we have picked lately in the draft, not so much. Not so much. So there's that. All right. I want to move on and actually talk about somebody who needs to get their flowers while they're here. That would be this woman here. C. Vivian Stringer. Let me give you guys a quick little history lesson for those of you who do not know who this powerful woman of sport is. C. Vivian Stringer has, in fact, announced recently that she is retiring from coaching women's college basketball after a 50-year career. 50 years of coaching women's basketball. That in of itself should be praised. That in of itself should be praised. Keep in mind, she is the person of African American descent who has won the most college basketball games as man or woman in terms of minorities. She is the all-time winningest coach for women who are African Americans in college basketball. She's won over 1,000 games. 1,000 games, that's a lot. 50 years, also a lot. Keep in mind, she is already a Hall of Famer. She basically was in the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame as well as the Basketball Hall of Fame, where she was inducted in 2009. She has coached teams such as Shawnee State, the University of Iowa, and of course, where she coached for many years, the University of Rutgers, where she took that team to several tournaments, including a couple Final Four appearances. Unfortunately, she did not win any national championships, but she has mentored countless number of women who have played all across the world, who have played in the WNBA, who have went on to be coaches in their own right. So I definitely want to give her flowers while she is here and congratulate her on her fine career and wish her nothing but the best in her retirement as she now moves on for her life from coaching basketball at the highest level. So yes, again, this is C. Vivian Stringer. Let us all give her flowers. Good job. Good job. That being said, people, there's one unfortunate story that we have to report this week on the Big Buck Sports Report involving a young lady who played softball for James Madison. She unfortunately decided to take her life last week after bouts of depression and bad mental health. Don't know exactly the complete circumstances. Just know that it affected her family and, of course, her softball family very deeply, so much so that they have decided to cancel the rest of their softball season in honor of her, and just basically felt it was better to not move on and move forward. The team was actually 21-21, and she was a big part of that team. She was a leader on that team, and now she's not with them, and it basically affected them deeply. And keep in mind, she is one of many people who unfortunately is coming to the conclusion that life ain't quite what I need it to be right now, and I'd just rather not live it. Remember, there's always better options, people. There's always better options than to take your life. Nothing is never so bad that is the only conclusion that you can possibly come to fix it, because that fixes nothing. That solves nothing. that just basically causes more problems for the people in your life that loved you and cared about you, because now they're gone and now they have to wonder what they could have done to help you. So as one of those people that care about people out here in the audience, do know if you're going through those things, please seek out help. There are many places that are able to help you or help you work through it. The National Suicide Hotline is available, along with many other local places. And basically, you can go talk to your religious leaders. You can talk to a good friend. You can seek out therapists. Whatever you need to do to get yourself back on the right side of healthy and well. Please do that. Do not just give up and say, that's it, I can't do it. Because yes, you can. Many of us have been there. Many of us battle depression. I talk about that often here on the air. Trust and believe. Some days it's looking real, real bad. But other days I realize these things too will pass. And I tell you this, these too will pass in your life as well. Road to Stardom checking in. What's going on, Road? Thank you for checking into the show. This is my new show, the Big Buck Sports Report. We do appreciate you checking it out. For those of you not familiar, Road to Stardom is a broadcaster as well. You can follow her on YouTube, as you can see, and also on IG, Road to Stardom. Please look her up. She has radio broadcasts, and she does some great things for people in the community and such. Please check her out when you get a chance. We appreciate you for doing that there. And we always appreciate Road for checking into all of our broadcasts here at the Nighthawk Network. That being said, y'all, like I said, this is a fast-moving show, and we are already pretty much at the end. For those of you who liked how it went on, let us know in the comments, or you definitely can hit me up in the following spaces. You, of course, can hit up my messenger at Eric Buckner on Facebook. You can hit me up on EricHawk45 on IG. You can also send some correspondence to the Nighthawk Network by hitting us up on our Gmail account, which is nighthnetwork313@gmail.com. Again, it is nighthnetwork313@gmail.com. Okay, a couple more comments before we head out. Hey, E-Buck, what's going on? What's going on? The Big Red fella, also known as Mr. Hayes, is checking in. What's going on, Big Red? And he's also giving a shout out to Stan as well. Thank you guys for checking in. See, many of you are checking in at the end here, according to my eye in the sky here. I thank you for that. For those of you who missed most of the show, feel free to go back and check it out and let me know what you think. We will be doing this show, the Big Buck Sports Report, every Sunday, 10 p.m. So please check it out. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you liked it, what you want to add, what I should subtract, what I should do in terms of anything in regards to the show or any other show on the Nighthawk Network. There was a new show that premiered in the Nighthawk Network as well that I very much like. I'm pretty sure they will talk about that show on one of the other broadcasts known as Dish Your Tea with Big Meech. So please check him out this weekend. He had a very interesting sabbatical last week that I'm sure he's going to talk a lot about on the show on Friday evening. Also, let me get my stuff together here, y'all. So yeah, there's Big Meech's show, Dish Your Tea with Big Meech, which you can find on Fridays and Saturdays, 9 p.m. or somewhere roundabouts. But of course, Big Meech, Aunt Nikki, and Big Red, who's checking into the broadcast. You got No Weapon Formed Against Us. It comes on Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with my cousin, Dr. Marla Facey, and her co-host, Miss Sheila. You got Stan Mason's Behind the Blue Curtain that you can catch on Saturdays, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Look for that. You also have Pastor Sean Love Presents. I posted that earlier this week. Hopefully you enjoyed that particular sermon. He's doing a new series that I very much enjoyed. I definitely advise you to check it out, particularly if you're a person struggling from loneliness or depression. He did address that in his sermon this week. I very much appreciate him for that there. We got the interview series, Let's Talk with Aunt Nikki, that will return at some point here on the network. And we got one more comment. Soon to be Minister Hayes. And definitely check that out. Definitely some things going on in the life of Big Red. Big moves. I am very proud of you, sir. Continue to keep striving and do better and be better and be bigger. I appreciate you, sir. And thank you for posting that in the network. I very much enjoyed that sermon by Pastor Ken this evening. So that being said, y'all, we about to head up out of here. We will be back this Sunday with a all new version of the Big Buck Sports Report. And of course, all the other shows on the Nighthawk Network that I just mentioned will air at their regular times. And of course, we'll be back next Wednesday at this time with the regular show that airs at this time, that being Gametime Audible. So I look forward to kicking it back with my guy, Hugh Lee, and talking sports with him as well. So until then, y'all be safe, be blessed, enjoy the sports, enjoy life, man. It's a beautiful thing. Remember, every day that we wake up and see the sun is a great day. Always keep that in mind. So that being said, y'all, there is no closing for this show because it's brand new and I ain't created one yet. So we just simply gonna say goodbye. Hold on, one more comment before we head out. Passionate Writers Outreach Ministry every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For those of you who are in the network and saw that new show, that is the name of the show. The Passionate Writers Outreach Ministry every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please get at it, check out. And if you have any good commentary in regards to that, please let the people know. And of course, you can always hit me up again at nighthNetwork313@gmail.com. And I will pass that message along to the future Pastor Hayes and to Pastor Ron and everybody, Pastor Ken, I should say, and everybody else over there in that part of the network. So let's do that. And again, as I said, there is no close for this show, so I'm basically just trying to find something to end it with. Here we go. We definitely want to honor my good friend who I miss every single day. We miss you, H2. We just do. Till next time, y'all. Deuces.